गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन। आज हम सेल्सफोर्स अपेक्स टेक्निकल इंटरव्यू क्वेश्चन देखने वाले हैं जो इंटरव्यू के लिए आसानी होगी आपको क्रैक करने में। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। सेल्सफोर्स के कुछ टॉप जो सेल्सफोर्स के इम्पोर्टेंट है, जैसे सेल्सफोर्स बिगिनर के लिए, इंटरमीडिएट के लिए और एडवांस और टेक्निकल जो अपेक्स क्वेश्चन दिए गए हैं। तो क्वेश्चन स्टार्ट करते हैं। What is the Apex interface? The interface is a collection of the unemployment methods. This will be specify the signature of the methods type of the input that we pass the method specify what type of the given as an output. Note, generally the interface methods we give it as a globus. Next question, where can I use Apex? We can use Apex in following the way: to create the email service, create the web service, perform the complex validations over the multiple object, to create complex business processes that are not supported by workflow, create custom transactions logic, attach custom logic to another operations. Next question. How does Apex work? All Apex program run internally, one demand, one the host.com platforms. First, the platform's application server compiles the codes into the abstract set of the instructions that can be understood by the Apex runout interpreters. The compiled code is stored in the metadata. When the into users triggers an executions of Apex by clicking on button, the Visual Force page, the application server in retrieve the compiled instructions from the metadata and send them to the runtime's interpreter before the returning the result. Next question, what is Apex in Salesforce? Apex is strongly type of object-oriented programming language. It's allow the develop to execute flow and transaction control the statement. Apex enable developers to add business logic to the must system event like button click related to records updated in the Visual Force page. Next questions, what are the way to call the Apex class? Below the mention are the way in the Salesforce to call in Apex class from the another class, from the developer console, from the JavaScript link, from the home page compounds by using the triggers from Visual Force page. Next questions. Explain the various methods of the batch Apex in class. The batch Apex class deploy the database batch above the interface with the three methods as follow: start, finish, and execute. Start, we use to start method at the beginning of the batch Apex job. We use to it for collecting the object of records, for the passing them to the interface of executing the its return database query locator object that is compiles object of the records sent to the job. Finish, we call these methods once we finish the batch processing. We use these methods to send configurations emails or to the execute the post processing operations. Execute, we use to these methods for the every batch for of the records that is are sent to the methods. We use object records list, reference the database batch able contest. Next questions. What is the Apex email service? Email service are automated process that is used Apex classes to process the content header attachment of inbound emails. Note, Salesforce email template cannot be used from mass emails. We can the associated each email service with or one or more Salesforce generated emails address to which the users can send message for the processing. Next question, explain the Apex programming language. Integrate it provide but in the support for the DML calls and in inline Salesforce object query language, easy to use, easy to text versions, multi tenant aware the applications. Next questions. What is the map class in the Apex Salesforce? Map class in the Apex. Map class contain methods for the map collection type. A map is a collection of key value yes, where the each unique key map to the single value. Map key map key value can be any data type primitive type of the collection object users define the types and built in Apex types. For example, following the tables represent a map of the countries and the currencies. Country key, United States, Japan, French, England. And currency, United States dollars, Japan yen, French euro, England pound. Next questions. What is a batch Apex in Salesforce? Batch Apex allow you to define a single job that can be broken up to into manageable chunk, whereas every chunk can be the process separately. In the batch Apex, it will be batches all the records on of the which you want to perform the fields update and devise them into a list of 200 records and every 200 records operation is performed separately. This would help us execute on the more than 10,000 records as a who not perform and operations on of all the records in a single transaction. The interest instant it divide devise them into the number of the subtext where such a subtext many contain records up to 400. Example, if you need a if you need to make a fields update of every records of the account object in the your organization, then we have a go, go, governor limit that will strict use from the achieving the above the task. Reason in the single transaction we can the process only 10,000 records. Now in the above the case, if we have a more than 10,000 records in the organization that we cannot perform this fields update. Next questions. Database insert list for the bulk DML to the means what? Insert list for the bulk DML. Next question. How can we perform the DML practically? Partially, if we want partially to happen, use to database insert and list flash. Next questions. What are the types of the SQL statement in Salesforce? Salesforce object query language is used to query records from the database based on the requirement. There are two types SQL statement: static SQL, dynamic SQL. Static SQL, the static SQL statement writing in array bracket. These statement are the similar INQ ION integrated to query. Example, string search for the is equal to John's, contact is equal to bracket select text field underscore C, first name, last name from the contact where last name is equal to search for bracket plus dynamic SQL. It is used to refer to the creation of this SQL string at runtime with Apex code. Dynamic SQL enable you can create the more flexible application to create the dynamic SQL query at runtime used to database query methods in one of the following way. Return is a single object when the query returns in the single records object is equal to database query string the is underscore limit underscore one. Return of the list object when the query return the more than single records. Example queries string mean the test string is equal to test name list is equal to database query select id from the my custom object is underscore where the name is equal to my testing. Next questions. What is the syntax of the SQL statement? Syntax select the fields two from the object is underscore type where the conditions. Example the queries list account list is equal to select bracket select id name from the account bracket close. Next list account the list is equal to bracket select id name from the account the where the annual the renew greater less than 10,000 bracket close. Next question, explain the brief file about the group by with the syntax. With API version 18 and later you can use to group by the with aggregate functions such as a sum open maximum open to the summarize the data and enable you to the roll-ups query result rather than having to process to the individual records in your the code. Syntax group bracket group by fields group by list bracket close. Next questions. SQL statement is a Salesforce Apex. SQL statement evaluate the list of the object where each of the contain the search result for the particular the sub of subject type of the result list of the always returns the sum order as a they were the specified in the query. If the SQL query does not the return any records for the specified object types and the search result include the query list of the object. Example, you can the returns list of the account and contact opportunity and leads that begin the base map list less than less than subject greater than search list is equal to bracket find map in all fields returning upon the bracket id name and bracket close contact opportunity leads in bracket close. Note the syntax of the class apex differ from the syntax of the find clouds in the SOAP API. In Apex, the value of this find is a, a demarcated with single the quit. Example, find map in all of the fields returning account the ID, name, contact, opportunity leads in the first.com's API. The value of the finds case demarcated with brace. Find map in all of the fields returns the account ID, name, contact, the opportunity leads. From the each list, you can create the always for each object returns accounts open accounts open account is equal to bracket list greater than accounts great, greater than equal bracket close search list bracket 0 bracket close contact bracket close open opportunity is equal to list opportunity bracket close search list to lead is equal to leads is equal to bracket list less than leads greater than and bracket close search list bracket 3 bracket close. Next questions. Explain the JavaScript remoting for the Apex controllers. Use JavaScript remoting in the Visual Force to call methods in Apex controllers from the JavaScript. JavaScript remoting has three parts. The remote the methods in vacations you add to the Visual Force page writing the JavaScript remote the method definition in the Apex controller class. In this method the definition is writing the Apex, but there are the 5 difference from the normal action methods. The response handle the callback function you add to include in your the Visual Force page writing in the JavaScript. Next question, how to the add JavaScript remoting in the Visual Force page? To use to JavaScript remoting in the Visual Force page, add to the request as a JavaScript in vacations with the following the forms. Syntax namespace the control methods bracket parameters is equal to call make the function the configuration bracket close. Next questions. Give some of the configuring JavaScript remoting the request. Configure the remoting the request by providing an object with the configuration setting when you declare the remoting the request. JavaScript remoting the support the following the configuration parameters. Name, data types, description, buffer, balloon, whether to the group and request to execute, close the each of the in time into the single request in the default is a true. Escape, balloon, boolean, whether is a escape, the Apex methods response is the default is a true. Timeout, integrate, the timeout for the static resource request in the millisecond default is a 13,000 30 seconds. Next questions. What is the declarative approach working on the project without the codes? Next question. What is the customization non-declarative approach working on the project with codes? Next question. If one want to the actually compile is a variable name in the query, what operators should be the use? Is equal to is the operator used to compare. Next question, when you want to the pass the collection into the query instead of passing on the value, which keywords help us in keywords? Next questions, what two are the benefit we get by writing the controller? We get the logic and data. Next question, mention the two reasons why to prefer the VFP instead of using the configuration no coding things. Multiply, edit, insert, JavaScript, Angular, GS can be included. Next questions. A difference between the difference between the less than Apex is equal to input text and greater than VS less than Apex is equal to input fields and greater than. Input fields is copy the fields from the any object and display on the Visual Force page, like the copy paste work. Input the text. It is will be help you to create the fields and from the scratch in new creations. Next question: how to the call in JavaScript using the Visual Force page and JavaScript in the file in the static resource, the state of the development. Static resource, click on the new name, file name, and add file from the local desktop and save. And next question: different between the SQL and SOSL in Salesforce. SOSL, Salesforce Object Query Language. Using the SQL, we can search only one of the object on time. We can query one of the fields on any data types. We can use SQL in the triggers and the classes. We can perform the DML operation on SQL query result. And SOSL, Salesforce Object Search Language. Using the SOSL, we can search many object at a time, one time. We can query only the fields whose data type of is the text, phone, and image. We cannot use the triggers, but can use the classes. We cannot perform the DML operation in the search result. Next questions. What is the features? Automation is the features. Use the features automation of the specified that these methods are executed the across or as concurrency, and methods with feature the automations must be the static the methods which feature the automation can be the returns wide the times syntax global class name, and features static byte methods name bracket parameter bracket close. Next is equal to body of the methods. Next questions: what is the app exchange directory? We web directory where the hundred of app exchange app are the available, so the Salesforce customer review the demo comment upon the and install the developers can the submit there the app is for the listing can be apex change directly if they want to the share the then with the community. Next questions: which tag is used to both radio button and a pick list to the create the select table value. We use apex select options, which fields cannot be the add to the custom index. We cannot be add the formal fields in the custom index in the Salesforce. What is the difference between the triggers in the workflow? Workflow is a workflow is an automated the process that is a field and action based on the evaluation criteria and the rules criteria. We can access the workflow, access to object. We can perform the DML operation on the workflow. We can the query from the database. Next questions: triggers. The triggers is a piece of the code that is executed before and after recording insert and updated. We can the access to the triggers across the object and the relate to that is object. We can the use to TML operation in the one triggers. We can the use to 20 SQL from the database in the one triggers. Next questions: what are the some apex class that are the commonly used to within standard controller select option page reference matches? And next question: what are the effect of using the transcend keywords? The transient keywords prevent the data from the being the save into the view state. This should be used for very temporary variable. Next question: what is the maximum number of the fields depend this we can use in the Visual Force page? The maximum the maximum number of the fields dependence we can the use to use the Visualforce page is a 10. Next questions, what is the products to say to the get the security token in the Salesforce? Click on of the your the name tab, then click on the personal and you will be find the reset my security tokens. Next question, what is the sorry what is the metadata drive the development methods? An app development methods that is allow app to the be defined as a declarative blueprint with no code require the data models object from the workflow and more are the depending by the metadata. Next questions. What is the yes controls? Yes control are the predominant Salesforce.com's weight that are the complete based on the JavaScript. These are the hosted by the Salesforce but executed at the client side. Yes control are the super super ready by the user first now. Next question was what is the wrapper class in the Salesforce? A wrapper or the container is a data structure class type of the abstract data type that is a contain the multiple collection for the object. It is a help to displaying the virus object and the Visualforce page in the single tabs. And next question, what are the first platform site? Public website and the application that is directly integrated with of the other Salesforce organization without require users to the log in the with of the username and the password. Next question, what is a tab in Salesforce? A tab is a user interface to the display custom object data other than enables we content to the users. We have a three types of the tabs in the Salesforce, which are sales custom tabs, Visualforce tabs, and web tabs. Next question. What are the type of the image template that can be created in Salesforce? Below the mention is a list of the template the available Salesforce text template. This template can be the modify the changes by any users. HTML with the rather than those like the annotations and users with the edit the HTML permission can be create this image template based on the letterhead. Custom HTML peoples like the annotation and the user which with edit the HTML permission can be create this email template without the using letterhand. It require knowledge of the HTML of the get the HTML codes to the insert into the email templates. Visualforce email template. This template can be only be created an annotation and developers using the Visualforce. It is capable of the meaning the data from the virus records. Next question, if we want to the share the records based on the condition like the share the records to the group of the users whose country the criteria in the India, what are the steps to the we follow? Setup security control sharing settings, click on the edit. Apex sharing, share the object is available for the every object for the account object. Share the object is account shares. If you want to share the records using the Apex, we have to the create record of the share the project. Next questions. What is the possible is edit of a Visualforce page in the productions environment? Yes, of course, we can the create and edit the Visualforce page in both of the productions environment and sandbox. The only things you cannot be the productions environment with the Visualforce page adding the unique value of the which you need to do this in the sandbox. Next questions. It is a possible to the make changes to the Apex triggers and Apex class in the production functions. No, you can do not be no, you cannot do that if you want to make any edit to the Apex triggers, Apex class that should be done in the sandbox environment. Next questions. What are the things that can be customized One page layout. Page layout allow you to the personalize of the customize that is given page object and records its help, and the customize is a designing of the page according to the your requirement. Page layout it help you in customization the page. Using this page you can customize things like the buttons, feeds, custom link, and related list. Next questions. How can you innovate batch apex job, or how to the execute the batch apex jobs programmatically? We can use to database execute batch methods to programmatically begin the batch jobs. Syntax the public static id execute batch bracket object class name bracket close public static id execute batch in a object class name and integrate the scope. The above two the methods are the static methods of the database class. We can use any one of these methods to execute the batch jobs. Uh, Note the class name we are the passing to the database execute batch methods should be object of the class which has a implemented the database batch able interface. Will Visualforce still support the merge feeds using the like yes control? Yes, just like yes control and Visualforce page support enables the merge feeds. Next questions. What is a multi-talent architecture is a Salesforce? It is a cloud fundamental the technology share the IT resource securely and cost efficient efficiently. Next question: what are the static the resource? Static resource allow you to the add to the content that you want to the reference it one of the Visualforce page which include things like the image, JavaScript, achieve the SS file. It that is the execute. Sorry, that the maximum size of the static resource of the organization is 215 MB. Next questions: list the data types that a set can store. The set can store any of the following data type: collections, user define the tab types, subject, primitive types, but in the apex types. Next question: what is a visual force compound? Visual force compound are small the residual compounds is a functionality such as a weight user interface the element panel. If we have two type of the visual force compounds which are the standard and the custom and used to define the user's interface and beware. Next questions. What is a bulk applications based practice? We must avoid the using the standard index value like the triggers new as newer as we never know how many records we get in triggers new the run times. We need to use to enforce each for each loop with whether we have records many. We must not use SQL inside for the loop. We must not use an SQL inside for the loop. We must not use DML inside for loop. We need to store data in connections so our the code will work for the single as well as multiple records. Salesforce Apex intermediate interquestions and what is the Apex schedules? Um, It will be in invoke of Apex classes to run at a specific time. Anybody who want to the schedule the class they have to the implement the schedule interface. Schedule interface the class and implement this interface can be scheduled run different interval. This interface has a several methods that is are public about the execute schedule context in public class my pseudos implement and pseudos public sorry public wide execute schedule the condensed and account is equal to name new account and name is equal to for, for us. Next questions. What is the Apex triggers in Salesforce? The triggers is the Apex code that is executed before, after, and following the types of DML operation: insert, update, delete, merge, upsert, and undelete. And next question: what is the meant by Apex transactions? Apex transaction represent a group of the operation that is needed to the executed at one. It include the data populations, language, DML, and responsible for the query records the DML operation and transaction either success of if anything goes wrong or the or even with single records pooled. Result is a rollback of the entire the transactions. Next question: what are the type of the Apex triggers in Salesforce? Triggers in divided into two types: before triggers, after triggers. Before triggers can be the used to update in valuable values of records before they are the save in the database. After triggers, the before triggers can be used to access fields value of the records that are stored in the database used to this value make and change the other records. Syntax triggers name on the object names of the triggers event code block where the triggers event can be the comma separate event. Next questions. What is Apex manage sharings? Apex manage the sharing provide the to share the requirement. This type of the sharing is available only with the user and modify all data permissions. Only these users can add, change, Apex manage the sharings. Apex manage sharing news and sharing reasons. Apex the sharing reason. Multi-talent architectures, client A, client B, client C. Next questions. What is the use of the Apex program within the Visual Force page? When you want to the call in Apex class on the Visual Force page, we have to declare the following the format. Apex is equal to page controller is equal to class the name. When we call in Visual Force page in the which of the control the attribute is defined. It will be first create and the object for the Apex class which is defined is a control when an object is created for the Apex class. First, involve the constructions. Next questions: what is a sandbox in Salesforce? Sandbox is defined as a testing environment that is used to test the code to conduct the experiment in in the in the environment without the harming the production the environment. Next question: when do we a sandbox? Sandbox help you when you want to text newly deploy application on the first.com Visual Force page. It is not possible to check something. It is a production environment. If you do so, it is a create of problems for the regular functioning. So that so to go so to get out of this problem, developer is to sandbox to text an application. Type of the sandbox and available are developers pro, and partial copy infos. Thank you so much, friends.